but again, how do you test it? Like if we can do you can do a roadside test, but the reality is that if a trace would still come up the same. And there was there's I think it was Mike Hendricks said it before that there's just really whoever comes up with the way to gauge the amount of marijuana in your system
Hmm.
is going to be a gajillionaire, and there is no doubt about that. And I've had that conversation with some of my liberal friends about the same thing. Like, man, yeah, wouldn't that be just a great tool to have? Because say you don't allow somebody to smoke marijuana, but they get into a car accident, so then they take blood, they find that there was marijuana in their system. Well, if the person hadn't smoked, we'll say for 4 days or 5 days, they certainly don't actually have it in their system enough to affect them in any way.
Hmm.
So how do you
Yeah.
work that out, right? So it's a big deal. Again, it comes down to the officer's observations and how they conduct the tests on the road. So very, very different.
Yeah.
I guess you're saying something, and now I'm kind of like I'm not necessarily agreeing with you, but you do bring up some good points about that concerns.
Yes. I'm letting people know. I went ahead and popped onto the Mike the Cop channel live on YouTube for a second, just to say, hey guys, like me and Dave are still doing the show. If you missed it and you want to continue to keep up with us, um, it's the it's youtube.com/ at off the cuff 2.0. So I just wanted to let you guys know you can subscribe to our show. We won't normally be here. This show is this channel, Mike the Cop, is now in partnership with Law Enforcement Today. They've been posting a couple of great videos so far. One today that they released was with Tony Sentmanat. Great 10-minute interview with him. It's awesome little expose, like mini doc. So check that stuff out. It's great. The Off the Cuff show, which is not really police related, is on our own channel now. So subscribe over there. So I just popped in here. We're going to keep streaming for a little bit on Mike the Cop, but subscribe to the Off the Cuff show here. All right. All right. So that's issue number one.
Okay.
Done.
Like, the Dale Taco Bell in front of them and see if they want to eat it. That is what sure way of telling if somebody is high.
I got to be careful here because they're literally deleting people's stuff, and I don't want to get too banned. But Steven Crowder put out what is purported to be a leaked manifesto. I'm not even going to say what manifesto because I'm going to be very careful with the language I'm using. But he leaked it, and
from a Tennessee town.
Yes. There's questions as to the legitimacy of this documentation. Was it real? Was it not real? All kinds of things. But my gut is that it was definitely real because 7 Nashville cops have been put on administrative leave
immediately.
So if it wasn't real, if that was manufactured by a fake source and then purported to be the thing and put on the internet, no one goes on administrative leave.
No, at all.
But there was an admin guy at Nashville like this. Let's see here. Who is what do we have here? Oh my, look at those 7 names.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's
That's amazing.
Did you look at the
No,
document at all?
No, I did not because by the time I actually when I was working today, and it takes a little bit to get home, and I saw an article, but that they had been suspended, but I didn't get to read the article about what actually transpired.
Yeah. I don't even know if I could find. I didn't screenshot them or anything like that. I did read, like what it was. And as you guys know, this was like a transgender individual. I believe it was.
You mean a non-cis?
Yes, maybe. Is that what I'm supposed to say?
Not kicked off, Mike.
Yes, non-cis. Non-cis. We should take our show onto Rumble too, Mike Hicks, and live stream there as well. But they got some like weird things about live streaming. Like it's kind of a pain in the butt. So this non-cis decides to go on this rampage, and in this
Like a
little
verbal
journal,
rampage?
yes,
Okay.
decided that words weren't enough violence, so she would escalate that, or he would escalate that, and what this journal shows is that this was planned. Obviously, it wasn't like a spur of the moment thing. There was like a countdown. There were racial slurs toward white individuals. There were slurs toward homosexuals, which is weird coming from a non-cis. All this other stuff. And this story got buried and censored and blocked out as fast as it came out, basically.
Yeah.
So
very fast.
What do you feel? Because the position of the PD and the position of people that I know, like but Sean Ryan. I mean, I've texted with them, but I've never met him or had a conversation with him. Sean Ryan has his show, and he went and actually was on the ground shortly thereafter and said this shouldn't be released because it's going to be really critical to keep this quiet for whatever.
Yep. For what?
Investigation or what they're doing. I don't know. So I'm saying, like, I've heard people say that they don't want it released. That said, what do you think? Do you think it should be out for the public at this point, or do you think this should be a thing where, like, the public will see it when the whole litigation is done? That's when it becomes the public's business. What's your take on this whole journal being released?
I would fully understand if this was actually oh, good Lord, just don't show those legs, please. I could understand. You're gonna throw me off my game here, Mike. I don't.
All right, sorry.
I
don't know what came over me, honestly.
I do. I'm not sure where to go with this because it's not like this is a in-depth investigation trying to find the cold hard truth in court in the judicial system where there's going to be hundreds of people on the stand, hours upon hours, days upon days of testimony. That's not the fucking case. Here's the real problem is exactly why that manifesto wasn't released. Nobody wanted to release it. However, you see manifestos from these fucking crazy fuckers get released all the time, time. And it's not even that they're leaked. They are just put out there. See, and it's always the police. See, this is what this person's, this is what they were thinking. This is what they wanted. This was their main goal. It should be the exact same thing. We can't even follow past practice on this, apparently. Why are we keeping this such a secret? I hate that I have to even hold my tongue on this because if you don't, you get shut down, you get blocked out and thrown away. But no,
what's interesting is, like, I could see a case being made for going, hey, no, this journal thing is evidence, and we are trying to prosecute this individual to the fullest extent of the law, and so we are not releasing no evidence is becoming public until we go to trial. And if the judge allows cameras in the courtroom, he does. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But we are maintaining the integrity of an investigation. But in this case, who are they charging with this? The dead guy? Like,
and not just that, Mike.
What's the angle here?
This is the problem. Again, you have a person that's out here doing great harm to individuals. First thing we saw was the video. That should never have been released in that case then.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Where's
like, this
the
is all
consistency
evidence.
here?
Why was this released?
Exactly. There's an inconsistency.
They did that before they knew who it was.
Yes.
Plain and simple.
Before they knew that this was an uncis.
Yeah. A non-cis.
Non-cis. Oh, an uncis. Yeah. A non-sister. Try to read that Google algorithm.
It's
Non-sister.
ridiculous. Yeah. Nice try, YouTube.
Jason asked about the Seventh Circuit upholding the ban. We're going to talk about that. It's actually on the list, so we'll get to that in a second.
Mhm.
Yeah, man, this is annoying, and it happens all the time. And I think we talked about this last week. Maybe did we? Sometimes the weeks run together and the shows run together. But the
Yeah.
whole idea of like, oh, when a mass shooting in Maine happens, it was fine. When a mass shooting and it was a certain kind of suspect, then let it all fly. When it was a black shooter in Tampa shooting 18 people, that's you don't hear about that. You don't know
Yeah.
about that,
Why
you
is
know.
that?
And we never hear about the mass shootings in Chicago. There was just another mass shooting somewhere that was like buried in the news because I was looking at top news articles today. And it was like, dude, it was like page 2 in the middle of the page, like 18 people shot. Like what the heck? Like
I know.
no
Oh, the
one
one
heard
in
about it.
Tampa. Yeah, for sure.
Why did we hear about the one in Maine then? Who's picking and choosing here? And we all know why. We know exactly why. Anybody with half a brain knows why. Because oh, this would be counter the narrative that we're trying to push, right? We want as many white men that are crazy about guns to be the perpetrators because that allows us to further an agenda to remove more guns from the hands of people. And of course,
Yeah.
the solution being if less law abiding citizens have guns, the criminals will follow suit and be like, you know what? I don't need a gun either.
And in your arms. Yeah. No, it
It's
is. It's a scary thing. Again, it's going to set me off. I'm trying not to do that, but it's just amazing to me
ooh,
how
sorry,
shots fired.
sorry, Stilamander, you are wrong. We were live last week on
We
our
sure
channel.
were. I think
So
she was here last week.
Stilamander, you are demoted from regular fan to I don't know
I
what. I
thought
don't
she
know
was a
what's
top fan.
no, no. The top fan would never, ever miss a show. So no,
No, that's true.
regular,
No, that's the
regular
platinum.
fan.
That's the platinum.
Yeah, regular fan has now become fair weather fan. So
Man, you're really hard on her. Okay.
yeah, she's been
Wow.
hard on me my whole life.
That makes sense though.
She's mocked my facial hair. She's
It makes sense.
mocks me at every turn. She signed up for the roast. Oh, by the way, multiple solicitor. By the way, after last week, we were talking. Remember how I said like something to the effect of like Mike the internet cop, Mike the cop was killed in the line of internet duty or something like that, or
Right.
whatever, you know, like, and we needed a roast at my funeral or whatever. Multiple people reached out and said, no, you should like if you're done with Mike the cop, then have the roast now for Mike the cop because he's
Oh,
over. So like you, Tansy, uh,
yeah.
angry cops, like anybody that like Daniel's donut operator, who anybody that done with it, then just like roast me, right? Like just do it like the old school
That sounds
Comedy
great,
Central
actually.
roast. So maybe
All right.
we'll get on that. But anyway, it's just annoying, and it's like it's anecdotal, of course, like what we're just observing. But if I'm wrong, I'd be happy to to see where objectively there's equal coverage across the board on these matters.
No. How hard do these media outlets try to bury? Doesn't it seem insane to you? Because I mean, the amount of information that is available to us on all of these platforms, whether it's even as simple as Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, or anything else, and then all of a sudden they're gone. Like I said, I saw the Tampa shooting and there was like 18 people shot. It was one video. I haven't seen anything since though. I don't know.
Nope.
I mean, nothing. I didn't even hear about it on the news. Oh no, I did. It was a blip on the news, but that's it. And I'm thinking, how hard do you guys have to work to not bring the fucking news every day? Good Lord, man. Good
I don't
Lord.
know, man. It's wild.
It
All
is
right.
wild.
somebody again had brought up the Illinois assault weapon ban. Let me pull up the story here. This caught my eye. This comes from at the stage. Second Amendment rights not absolute. This comes from the Intelligencer, the Edwardsville Intelligencer, wherever that's at.
Online edition.
Second Amendment rights not absolute. Court rules. Oh, really?
Wow.
That's news to my reading of the Second Amendment.
Wow.
I don't know which Constitution you're reading.
Wow.
And people think I'm exaggerating for effect. I'm not. I do think the Second Amendment is absolute. I do not think there should be a restriction. Or you think people should have tanks if they want? Yes,
Yeah.
I do. I do think that they should have tanks. You think people should have rocket launchers? Sure, if they can get one. Yeah, why not?
I agree.
Why not? I am very consistent there, and then I always get the pushback. Oh, you were a cop. Nice try. You enforce these laws. Sorry, I did not. I never, ever in my entire career ever took a gun or charged someone with a gun unless that gun had been used in a crime. That's it. That's like if that gun was evidence of a crime, well, yeah, I took it because it's evidence. But not if I pulled somebody over who didn't have a CPO and had a gun, didn't matter to me. Like I never enforced it. That's it. That's all I got to say about that. Like, so I am personally consistent on this, and where if I have ever not been inconsistent, the fault is mine, not my opinions. It would have been me making a mistake. All right. Chicago, in a 2-1 ruling Friday, a federal appeals court declined to block enforcement of the state's assault weapon ban as well as similar local ordinances, saying the rights guaranteed in the Second Amendment of the U.S. Constitution are not absolute. The judges sided with 2 lower court decisions from the Chicago area, but overturned the ruling of a federal court in Southern Illinois, stating that the plaintiffs have not shown the likelihood of success on the merits based on the fact that the military weapons, again, that's a loaded language, lie outside the class of arms to which the individual right applies. No, it doesn't. In fact, how terrible is your justice system when that is what a judge would say, that military weapons lie outside the class of arms to which the individual right applies. That's unimaginably ignorant, given the fact that it says that let me put the Second Amendment in plain language for you. The government can't stop you from having weapons, and you should always be ready to fight.
Yeah.
That's let me just put it to you in plain English in 2023. That's what it means. So this free right being necessary, right? I was just floored at that being a sentence that would come out of a judge's mouth, and then calling an AR-15, for example, a military weapon. How's it a military weapon if I went and bought it? Numbnuts. Like a military weapon. That language is just so loaded, pun intended. The Second Amendment to the Constitution recognizes an individual right to keep and bear arms. Of that, there can be no doubt. Well, yeah, for now. The majority opinion began citing a string of recent Supreme Court cases, but as we know from long experiences of other fundamental rights, such as the right to free speech, the right to peaceably assemble, the right to vote, and the right to free exercise of religion, even the most important personal freedoms have their limits. I don't think that they do. I don't think that they do. This is the problem, is they don't. They don't have limits. That I can say whatever I want as a freedom of speech. That what's the limit to that? I can say whatever I want. That's the right, and I'm free to do so.
Not if the writer of this article has anything to say about the future of words or violence.
This isn't the writer of the article. These are judges.
Yeah. See, well, then there's your slippery slope, right? I mean, this is, oh my God, Mike, why are you doing this to me, man?
Sorry. Friday's decision applied only to the preliminary injunction and did not amount to a definitive ruling on constitutionality. The decision involved 3 consolidated cases that challenged the state's ban. Let's see. Immediate challenges were sparked. The Illinois Supreme Court upheld the law. Then they appealed it to federal court. Then now in a federal appellate court has shot it back down. And so my prediction, of course, is that this will head to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So that's where this will ultimately be decided, which maybe they will refuse to hear it. Maybe the Supreme Court will leave it alone. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, let it fly, Dave. What do you think about this?
Well, okay. We've all had our this whole idea of the Second Amendment. I'm going to read you something else here. Now, this is something that an oath that I had to take in police work. It's an oath I had to take in the United States Army. This is an oath that the Senate does about the Constitution. And there's an excerpt. And I don't mean to parachute into this, but this is a common thing, which is very separate than the Second Amendment. However, I believe that you put them together and you start getting an understanding of why the Second Amendment is where it is. And it says, I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And the thing about that is that that's not just a will or a psychological warfare between of the mind. That that is a very it's a very physical statement as well. And the idea that it should, if that was the case, if this is how it is, if this is how the judges would have it, it would not even be foreign or domestic. The domestic part would be taken out, because it appears that the media, social media outlets, judges like this, as incompetent judges, forget all about that. The possibility of all these, again, they tout them as, or they blow them up as conspiracy theories. Okay, you're a conspiracy theorist. You think this, you think that, when the reality is that we don't ever know, right? We don't know what's going to happen in the future, which is why we have these oaths. These oaths mean something, foreign and domestic. We can't say that you'll never have a domestic enemy, because Hamas coming here, or illegal immigrants coming here to do harm in cells, they're not all of a sudden domestic enemies. They are still considered foreign enemies. Domestic is completely different. We are talking about our own. That's it. And we just want to forget about that. It's ridiculous. I just don't understand how we could even. I guess I'm just a conspiracy theorist. I'm no better than anybody else. I'm just an idiot, I guess.
Well, yeah. I mean, the whole thing seems to be converging. Decisions like this converging at the same time as we are intentionally participating in yet another conflict. War with Iran seems to be on the immediate horizon now.
Bombing Syria.
At the same time as we have willingly and wittingly opened our border and allowed countless unknown numbers of undocumented people. And it's not just people need to understand, this is not just like innocent and oppressed Mexicans and Hondurans and
Right.
and I'm sure, yes, that exists, right? Like, and on one level, you can't blame them if they feel like, hey, if I could get another opportunity for my family and myself, like, yeah, of course. So in one sense, you can't blame them for trying, but that's not the only people coming through the border. And at what point do you have to sit back and go, you know what? This isn't just apathy. This is intentional
Yes,
on
it's
the part of
purposeful.
somebody to disarm people, to disarm the ordinary person, leave more firearms and firepower in the hands of government agents while simultaneously allowing our enemy to draw closer to us.
Hmm.
At some point, you got to go, you know, I don't think that's an accident.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Yeah, it's
Uh,
ridiculous.
yeah, that is nuts. So yeah, that'll irritate you. So good.
Yeah, it does. Thank you. I really like
Yes,
that.
I know.
Thanks.
All right. So for the random story, I'll just read this because it actually left me with more questions than answers. And
Great.
maybe a second read here will show me uh, what this is. Let's see. All right. From the Associated Press, Colorado funeral home owner wife arrested on charges linked to the handling of at least 190 bodies.
Okay.
Now, if that funeral home doesn't look like a place you want to send your loved one in the afterlife, I don't know what does.
Wow.
Okay. Colorado Springs, Colorado. The owner of a Colorado funeral home and his wife were arrested Wednesday in Oklahoma on charges linked to the discovery of 190 sets of decaying remains at one of their facilities, including some that apparently had been languishing there for 4 years. I'm, I'm pretty sure there's not enough cold storage going on here for those. So
But
do with that
why?
what you will.
But
I,
what's the end game?
John and Carrie Halford were jailed in Oklahoma. I told you, Dave, I got questions. John and Carrie Halford were jailed in Oklahoma on a $2 million bond on suspicion of 4 felonies: abuse of a corpse, theft, a corpse, abuse of a single corpse, or 190 counts of abuse of a corpse, theft, money laundering, and forgery after their arrest in Wagoner, east of Tulsa. Wagoner, I don't know. They couldn't be reached for comment, you don't say, and didn't have attorneys listed in jail records. Neither has a listed personal phone number, and the funeral home's number no longer works. During a conference in Colorado Springs announcing the charges, District Attorney Michael Allen said authorities wouldn't be releasing many details in order to protect the integrity of the ongoing investigation. But he said the charges documents, which are sealed, contain information that is absolutely shocking. Allen
I have
didn't
so
say if
many
there was.
questions.
I told you it's gonna create more questions and answers. Allen didn't say if the Return to Nature funeral home had sent families fake ashes, which was my first question, which is like, well, wait a second. Like, did people just obviously did they fake graveside burials? Was it just
What if the
empty
ladies?
coffins?
What if the ladies smoke like a chimney? They just keep like piling up her cigarette butts and like make.
Yeah, I mean, they emptying out fireplaces and putting in little urns, and I don't know what
But
are they putting
but
marbles
why?
in the urn to give it weight? What are they doing?
But why?
So he didn't say that he had sent the families fake because it costs money to burn bodies, and maybe you take a check and then you just don't do anything with the body. I don't know. But mounting evidence suggests that was happening. Several families have told the Associated Press that the FBI told them privately that their loved ones were among the decaying bodies, meaning the ashes they were given weren't their family members. Those family members were asked to give samples of the ashes they received to investigators
Oh
to
my god.
analyze. Christina Page is among the aggrieved relatives of the dead. She went to the news conference clutching a red urn with what Return to Nature told her were the ashes of her 20-year-old son, David, who was shot and killed by law enforcement in 20. Oh, this comes full circle for us, doesn't it, Dave?
Oh, there it
Uh,
is.
there it is. For 4 years, she carried the urn from the marble halls of the Colorado Capitol to Washington, D.C. as she advocated for police reform. Oh, gosh, come on.
You know what's great about that is that now she is relying on the police to get her son back to her. Oh, jeez. Oh my god.
Dear police officers in desperate need of reform, will you do your normal job like you always do and help me despite the fact that I despise you for no reason whatsoever?
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
man. Her son's
Wow.
actual body was set to be cremated later Wednesday for 4 years. So now he's getting cremated again. For 4 years, I've marched all over this country. Oh, gosh, now this just turns into a soapbox. All right,
Oh
going on.
jeez.
How do you store almost 200 people? Wondered her grandson, Michael Martinez of Colorado Springs. How do you even stomach that? Investigators are in contact with 137 families. They're asking for people who may have been involved to bring forward, information. Estimated there are about 115 bodies inside, but the number increased to 189 after they were finished removing all the remains in mid-October. The total rose to 190 on Wednesday, though authorities didn't explain the increase. Maybe they found a zombie and had to kill it. They added to the number.
Dude,
So
how much
yeah,
property do you have to bury 190 bodies in various forms of decay? And why? Why? Mike, help me. Why? In your beautiful, luxurious home that you're sitting in right now, please
hey
explain
man,
to me.
I've made it. I just want to. I'm flexing hardcore, man. I'll maybe tickle the ivories over here in a little bit for you guys.
Good Lord. Tickle the ivories.
I don't know. That's why I said, like, this is just this segment of
That's
the show is like
insane.
hitting 3 top hitting stories and then just throwing this in there. It's like, it's random, but it caught my attention, and I'm just like, dude,
wow.
what the heck is going on here? And I don't understand how good. So what? Let's just. I don't know what it costs to cremate somebody, but let's say it's $2,000. I don't know what it is, but let's say it's $2,000. Is it really that expensive to burn a body and put? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
what is the financial incentive to not do it and just keep the body? Is it laziness? What are?
It couldn't be late. It's got to be 10 times more complicated to do exactly what they did. I saw Ozark. It's easy to burn a body. Just that simple.
I just feed them to
Oh
the
my
pigs.
God. Now I have to look to see how much of a gosh, what is it actually called? And I don't, because I know it's a crematorium, but what is the oven called? I say oven. God, I sound like I'm Hitler or something. That's just
What
horrible.
is a crematorium oven called? A cremation chamber. That's it. A chamber.
Cremation chamber.
Cremation furnace.
For sale. I'm typing that in right now. U.S. cremation equipment.
How much does it cost to cremate someone?
Site conditions and utility access can be variable, but a 1,200 square foot crematory typical will cost $60,000. Cremation systems normally deliver human retort and accessories, installs the equipment, fires the chamber, and trains your cremationist for approximately $135,000.
Huh. It says in Michigan, the average direct cost of cremation is $22.45. I wasn't too far off. So, I mean, yeah, I just don't understand it. Like, if you have the oven, clearly you've got enough room in your life to store 190 bodies. Like, what are you doing?
Well, so I just did the math there. 190 times about 20. I think I did $2,200. It's $418,000, man. Like, that's not that's not. But they're still talking about millions here. So I don't know what we're doing with that. So
I don't know.
And you could have been into a crematorium for a lot cheaper and still came out on top, Mike. They still could have came out on top. They could have just
maybe
done it right.
Maybe the pilot light went out and they just didn't want to pay somebody to come get it back on. They couldn't fire up the oven. I don't know.
The guy's like,
oh yeah, it's a Saturday night. We've got 2 bodies. Can you get out here? Well, no, I'm stacked. I can't get out there for at least 2 weeks. And then, so at first it was just an inconvenience, and then it became a habit. That's how I'm assuming. Like, it started out as like, well, yeah, we just leave these 2 decaying. You know what? We took the money and we didn't have to burn the bodies, and it just took less time. So, shoot, this is easy. Let's just take checks.
See, these are the kind of people that are so stupid that they probably bought a vacant field for like $600,000 or something stupid.
Mark Hergott in the comments has gone full conspiracy theory and that they were getting rid of Hillary's victims. So that's
well, they did a shitty job of that too. Then,
you know what's scary is it's plausible. You know, it's a plausible theory, yet to be tested. But yeah, I don't want to get too close to that situation. Anyway,
wow,
yeah.
That reminds me of
roundup,
Making
folks.
a Murderer. Remember Making a Murderer? They talked
I
about
saw the first 2 seasons, I think. Maybe
yeah,
I only saw the first season.
that's I
There's
think
3
isn't
now,
I
I think.
thought there was only oh well, whatever. I didn't watch that, but
Me
they were
either.
talking about how hard it is to actually burn a body. Like it's almost unless you have like a crematorium, you
It's
can't
gotta get
just
hot enough.
burn the body. It's got
Yeah.
there's just like no way that you could have like um you couldn't have a fire outside, a bonfire big enough.
Get a pack of logs from 7-Eleven.
A cord,
Get a cord of wood. It's
a cord of
not even
wood.
enough.
That's so dumb. How
Oh my gosh.
gross.
You gotta go
So
full
gross.
Breaking Bad
Ugh,
and put them in a tub.
I know. See, this is why this is what leads to our conspiracy theories. And our conspiracy theories would be completely ridiculous. Now we're like, and then in Breaking Bad, and then we never have to break. How'd you get to space so quick? That's ridiculous. Yeah, Mike changed his background. He's on a
It's uh
satellite now, apparently.
it's a Tesla technology.
Good for you. 1,600 degrees Fahrenheit is this temperature of a cremation vessel. Thank
Is
you,
that
Irish lover.
is
Thank you,
that Florida?
Irish lover.
Is that Florida down there?
It's so dumb. Oh gosh.
All right. Well, guys, thanks for hanging out with us again. If you are seeing this on the Mike the Cop channel right now, just keep in mind that we are on Off the Cuff 2.0, our own little spot. Thank you again to law enforcement today for kind of taking over the channel, over the Mike the Cop channel. We're working on like branding and changing some things over. Got a meeting coming up, and we just want to continue to deliver good law enforcement related content over there. And me and Dave don't really care too much about focusing on that.
Yeah.
So we want to just kind of talk about
I mean, I don't want people to think that I don't like that I'm like completely removing myself from law enforcement. I love
I
talking to
don't
good
mind the
like
occasion.
we brought up
Yeah.
yeah, we brought up some law enforcement stuff, but it's certainly not like our thing now. Like it's not who we are anymore. But we still have a lot of knowledge. I think I'll probably still have a lot of knowledge even when I'm 80. I'll probably have more knowledge. I'll be like one of the guys. Like I always say that some of my mentors in jujitsu have forgotten more jujitsu than I've learned, and I've been in the game for a little bit. So,
Yeah,
you know,
for sure. But you can expect pretty much each week we'll hit 2 or 3 like top like stories and conversations, and then I like throwing in those really random ones that make you scratch your head and get a
yeah, that
chuckle
was
or
crazy.
whatever else. So we'll
Still
see.
no reason for it. I might not even
All
be able to
right.
sleep tonight now, trying to think about why the hell these freaking idiots did that. Makes no sense
I
to
know.
me.
I think I want to think that I'll keep up with the story, but I know that I won't. So,
I
well.
agree.
All right, guys.
So,
Well, take care. We'll be back next week with we'll have some stories from the concert, I'm sure, to share with you,
yeah.
and then hit some more news and discussion and see where it goes.
And I'm hoping we don't hear too much about Gaza, but I have a feeling we will because I think there's something going on over there,
Whew,
but I'm not
yeah,
exactly sure. So
it's
I do
gonna
know
be
one thing
interesting.
that there's a bunch of little girls over there because every time they're pulling somebody out of the rubble, it's a little girl that looks the same to me. So, oh my gosh, you can't say that, Mike. Now we're
That's the
trouble.
equivalent to their telenovelas. Their show's called From the Rubble. It's just a 30 minutes, 30 minutes of pulling actors from the rubble. No,
I know there is literally 100 adult males, and then they pull this one little girl out every time from like an inch and a half
same
worth
girl.
of rubble.
That girl
Same
has survived more
Poor
rubble.
girl. She's the worst luck ever. So,
how many missile attacks can one girl survive?
she's actually like the equivalent of actually like shell shocked at this point. Like it's not even PTSD, it's shell shock at this point.
Oh my gosh.
Oh god. You're out of hand. Get out of here.
Yeah. All right, you too. We'll see you guys later.
Peace.